Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to something that I call the Personal Podcast. Yes, we're doing another one of these fantabulous things, and the song that you're listening to right now is Forever YDGN by Mice and Men. Just came out a couple months ago. Gonna give that a good old pause button before YouTube's algorithm takes down the whole fucking video, because that's what it likes to do nowadays, you know? Anyways, welcome to the Personal Podcast, coming to you live from the Southern Everett Studios of Snohomish, Washington, if I can speak properly, at 3:18 p.m. on a very cloudy and, I guess it's just cloudy, a very cloudy March 5th afternoon in the wonderful year of 2018, and I'd like to welcome you still to the Personal Podcast. Now, this podcast is brought to you by, well, me for one thing, but I'm sorry, I don't really know where I was going with that. But anyways, on the show today, we're going to be having, I guess this is like an actual show now. I'm just kind of talking to myself, leaving it for recording for you guys to listen to, which is great because as of last night, actually, I've gotten a listener requested topic. Now, when I say that, it's more along the lines of I gave ideas for what the show could be, and they decided to agree with what I was saying. So, I guess you could say this is my idea, but at the same time, I did not pick the year that will be discussed. The year that we're going to be talking about is 2015. For those of you who know me pretty well, 2015 was, oh boy, it was quite the year. But we're not going to focus on the bad parts of 2015. We're going to focus on the good parts. Now, last night, I took it upon myself, right after this idea was given, to just jot down a couple ideas of where the show could actually go for that. Sorry, excuse me, voice crack, still abound. Where the show could go from that. So, immediately, I went to my Facebook page and went to the yearly timeline thing, because my Facebook spans all the way back to 2013, and so I obviously clicked 2015, and just a whole bunch of posts came up. Like, I used to post way more back in the day, which those of you who know me rather well and actually listen to the show, you know that to be true, because most of the things that I posted, back in the day were pretty fucking dumb. They were pretty fucking dumb. But I went back to those posts and, got through all the ones that didn't make any sense or just, oh my god. Fucking 18-year-old me, I would just smack him in the face and just be like, why are you posting these stupid fucking things? It's like, there's like a stream of posts that I was actually in a bit of an argument / fight / falling out, if you will, with a particular friend who is actually the only person in the world that I actually hate now, which, for those of you who listened to the podcast before, the Thumb and Ted podcast, I believe it's episode 35, somewhere around there, where I actually describe what happened on that particular 3rd of July back in 2015. Actually, it's 2016, excuse me. So we're not following the timeline. But at this point, there was a time where I thought shitposting very, very angry music directed towards this person would be a funny idea, which it was, and in my own opinion, it's still pretty damn funny. But all that aside, all these different posts came up when I went back to 2015, and it reminded me of a couple things that were actually good about 2015, like I was trying to say a long-ass fucking time ago, but now we're 2 minutes later, and I've led you down a rabbit hole of what the fuck is this kid talking about? So, let's just get to the topics at hand, and we're going to send you off to a music break here. And, well, sorry, we're very unprepared for this, of course. Now, I'm not going to be playing new music because obviously it's still under copyright, including that first song you were listening to. Because that song came out about 3 months ago. It came out 3 months ago, so yes, I would probably get flagged and taken down. So, we're just going to get right to the topics right after I play you a wonderful song here. And we hope to hear from you soon, because you'll be hearing from me in just a moment.
Hold your head up, there's a light in the sky. I know you're fed up, but you must try to survive. Each moment's precious, don't let life pass you by. Keep focused, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold your head up, see there's a light in the sky. I know you're fed up, but you must try to survive. Each moment's precious, don't let life pass you by. Keep focused, keep your eyes on the prize.
A friend of mine once told me we had many paths this journey. They act in different directions, so when you question, don't be worried. It's not a wrong one. Beauty can be found in all of them. You'll meet people whose past are set, but you don't know how long you walk with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gary from the Thumb and Ted podcast here, just interrupting the music to remind you that the Thumb and Ted podcast is very much still a thing. And I know that may seem kind of weird to some of you, but there will definitely be more episodes coming. When? I'll decide that. So let's just get back to the show at hand. No, let's do that. Let's do that right now. Okay. No, Macklemore, I love you, but you need to shut your face for the moment. So, back to the topic at hand. I know that was a pretty short music break. Not fully prepared here. You know, I'm just kind of freewheeling it right now. So, the first thing that excuse me. The first thing that came to my mind when I thought of the year of 2015 would be my first ever trip to, I guess, water park. I'm sorry, if you're hearing fucking noises outside, the office is especially loud today. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because my mic is right next to next to the fucking window, which is just a terrible idea in the first place. I should really be recording this in a different room that's not connected to the outside world of busy ass fucking roads. God. Anyways, my first ever water park / theme park / whatever the fuck you want to call it. But the place that I'm referring to is called Wild Waves Theme Park here in Federal Way, Washington. And you can hear me laughing because I'm remembering back to this day of it being really, I guess not nerve-wracking, but more along the lines of, I've never been to this park before, and I really don't know what to expect. So, my friends at the time, there was 3 of us that went, and I won't say their names, of course, although, you know, I've dropped names before, and it hasn't been intentional, but there was the 3 of us, and we live all the way up here in, like, South Everett, so it's really not that far of a drive, but when you're going someplace that you've never been before, it seems even longer. And I know that most people can attest to that because, I mean, come on, you have no idea where the fuck you're going. You're just like paying attention to every single little thing that goes by, that or not paying attention. Either way, it makes the timeline longer. I'm trying to be funny. It's not funny. Fuck it. It doesn't matter. So, if you just think of it this way, so we're up here in South Everett. And I get in the car. Sorry for the pause. I just got a little sidetracked. I get in the car and we start driving, and we get on the freeway. We're about 10 miles into the journey, and I had, I guess, prepared of some sort of game plan or whatever, and I put my contacts in. And for those of you who have seen me, I wear glasses. I do. I'm not gonna belittle that at all. The point still stands. So wearing contacts for me is pretty rare because I just don't have the fucking patience to put them in. So today was a little bit different because I'm like, hey, the sun's out, we're going to be at the water park, we're going to be having some fucking great times, and I don't want to have to leave my glasses in the locker because me walking around with my glasses off is like, it's not a complete shit show, but I really can't read anything at all. You'd have to put it like an inch away from my fucking eyelids for me to actually read it and understand it. So I had put in contacts, and I'm sitting in the back seat, and my two friends in the front seat decided it's a brilliant idea to be doing 80 miles an hour on the fucking freeway with all the windows open. And I did not know that I had put one of my contacts in upside down. Now, for those of you who do have contacts, you understand that you can tell when a contact is upside down and you want to fix it, but you're not in a sink and you don't have saline solution, so you just kind of put it off until you get to that place. And so I'm sitting in the back biding my time thinking, oh fuck me, why the hell did I do this? I put my contact in upside down, and we're going to some place I've never been before, and it's such a fuck. It was just so fucked. And then to make matters worse, a good song had come on the radio. I guess damn it, I dropped his name again. My friend in the passenger seat decided to play a song that I really wanted to listen to, and I opened my eyes to look at him and say, hey man, nice fucking song pick. And the next thing you know, I open my eyes and my fucking left contact flies out the fucking window. And so at this point, I'm half blind. I was at least smart enough to bring my glasses, and I was so defeated by this that I sat in the back seat, didn't say a word for about 2 miles, and then I thought to myself, I gotta get this other fucking contact out of my eyes because I'm gonna put my glasses on and pretend like none of this shit ever happened. And so I'm just essentially digging at my fucking eye because I'm not good with contacts to begin with. And if you throw a moving car, open windows, and no mirror trying to get a contact out, it was difficult. Let's just put it at that. And so the point being is, I'm sitting in the back of this car, and it took me about 15 minutes to get that fucking contact out of my eye. And then I kind of just crumpled it up and then threw it out the window. And then as I'm doing that, I look down at my wrist, my left wrist, and the other contact that had flown out of my eye earlier was stuck to my wrist. So there was no reason to pull my motherfucking right contact out and literally actually throw it out the fucking window because it was already still in the goddamn car. So at this point, I'm getting kind of pissed because now I have to walk around Wild Waves with like no fucking vision, and it's just driving me fucking crazy. And I really wanted to be able to see when we were doing the water slides and everything, because they don't let you wear glasses or sunglasses or whatever the fuck. Excuse me, Jesus Christ, had a bit of a moment there. Bringing it back, you can't even wear goggles on the water slides at Wild Waves. So essentially, if you're optically challenged, you're kind of shit out of luck. So the whole water portion, I couldn't really see shit. It was fun as hell for what I could see, and the water slides were crazy fucking fast. And there's another story that stems from this. So we're just about done. I'm starting this story now. We're just about done with this. All the water portions. We're almost done with the water portions, and we decided to go on one last water slide, and I had been bugging my friend, who had been telling me no this whole time. I've been bugging him, saying, hey, you should start screaming that one song that we were listening to on the way there, and it's a particular of Mice and Men song called The Great Hendowski. That's what it is. And shut up, computer. Oh my good God. Ladies and gentlemen, I just turned on my laptop, which is a virus-ridden piece of shit, and there's like 15 fucking pages open, and my computer appears to be melting in the chair next to me. But anyways, so I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked. So I had been bugging him to scream this song right as you go down a water slide, and we were on board with it because screaming's fun. So we get up to the top of the water slide, and then he looks at me and he's like, "All right, you know what? We're gonna do this." And I was like, "Oh, are we really?" He's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then he sits down, and the attendant that stands at the entry to the chute where it went, it's hard to describe. It was pretty much, you take this flight of stairs up like, oh my god, it was like 5 stories. Like, it was really fucking tall. And you went down this tube, and then you were in this whirlpool thing where you went around in circles and stuff. It was pretty cool. It was a nice little short ride. But the attendant is standing there with his leg like blocking him and watching the other kid that went down, just making sure that he's out of the way for when my friend decides to go down the chute and start screaming this song, or at least try to, which is pretty funny. And I'm starting to laugh right now because I just remembered how stupid this really was. But the attendant gives the all clear at the bottom, so the guy at the top moves his leg, and he's like, "Alright, have a good time." And the song I'm referring to immediately starts off with screaming. There's no like instrumental, there's no clean vocals, it's just instant screaming. And so my friend's about like 3 or 4 feet into the slide, and he just starts fucking screaming this song, and he's progressively getting quieter as he's going down the chute, and I'm sitting waiting to go, and I'm almost pissing my pants back here because I heard every word of this, and I thought it was hilarious. And the attendant who had let him go looked rather concerned, and like he was looking down the chute like, what the fuck is wrong with that kid? Jesus Christ. And I'm sitting about 5 feet away in the little loading station, literally just crying my eyes out because it was so fucking funny. But long story short, I went down the slide and I told him all about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I was gonna start screaming it when he was just standing there, but I figured too many people would see, so I decided to just do it when he said go." That was just a little side story, and not any less funny. Not any less funny. But the whole Wild Ways experience was fantastic for one thing. The water portions, couldn't really see anything. It really wasn't that big of a deal. But we got done with that, and then it was time to hit the roller coasters. And for those of you who know me pretty well, I suppose, you know that I was not good on roller coasters at all. They freaked me out. They sent me into like a weird panic attack state, and it just I couldn't do them. I just could not. And I decided for this trip, since my buddy just got back from working with his grandparents in Idaho, and I'm with my other friend. Like there's friends here. You can't just be a dick to your friends. You got to do what your friends are doing, because that's why you went in the first place. So I decided to force myself this time to get on the rides. And we started small. We did this thing where the first ride that we did, actually, we went on this, I guess this like saucer thing that spun, but also went in like this half pipe thing. I call it the ball destroyer for pretty fucking obvious reasons. Males on that ride did not have a lot of fun. I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, we went on that, and me, fucking freaked out by rides, was just terrified. But I was having fun. I was freaking out, and Ball Destroyer 2015, shut the fuck up! Oh my god. Yes, I know the computer is totally fucked. I understand. Okay, what the fucking... hang on. No. Closing that piece of shit. Anyways. all that aside, we got off the ride, and we're walking towards the next one, and I was like, yeah, I got an adrenaline rush. This is pretty damn fun. Let's do another one. So we immediately go to the Timberhawk. It went from very small to very, very, very large. Now, the Timberhawk is a giant wooden roller coaster. I guess it's not super giant. It's not the longest of rides. But it's speedy. It's really fast. And that's what I didn't seem to understand about it. And the thing about the ride is that I didn't know it was going to be as fast as it was. I know I just said that, but I thought I'd just throw it out there again because it was fucking true. And we get on the ride, and we're in the very back because my friend explained to me that's the best place to be on a roller coaster, in the very back. I'm not sure why. I always thought it was really cool to be in the front, but, all the cool kids sit in the back of the bus. And so we're sitting on this ride, and it starts moving forward, and I can tell already that he lied to me. He fucking lied to me that, the ride's not that fast. And so it's like jolting forward, and then it gets to the first hill climb. And I have a fucking massive fear of heights. So I'm essentially shitting my pants right now looking at my friend just saying, dude, this is way too high. This is way too high. What the hell are we doing? And he's just laughing his ass off, holding his hands up like you do on a roller coaster. And, he's just having a good time. He was probably ignoring me. And I'm like grabbing his arm like, dude, I have got to get the fuck off of this thing. And, he's just like, no, it's fine. It's going to get real fast, real quick. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. No, it's not. And then we crested the first drop. And the Timberhawk goes on immediate descent. It reaches about 45 miles an hour within like 2 seconds. So I'm getting pushed in the back of my seat. My legs are being lifted up. I can't see. And I'm screaming my fucking head off. And we're flying around these corners. Just going. And at this point, right after that first drop, I was just like, okay, well, the roller coaster held together for that. I'm pretty sure we'll be fine for the rest of it. And then I didn't know that there was a second drop. And oh my god, I was not expecting that one. I was half expecting the first one, just not the speed. And the second drop, I got real serious, like, oh god, I'm gonna throw up. But then, after the ride came to a close, it was probably one of the best experiences of my life. And I'm not really afraid of roller coasters anymore. I'm still terrified of heights, but roller coasters don't really faze me that much. And so, that's pretty much the whole summary of the Wild Waves of 2015, which was my first trip to a water park ever. Ever being the relative term of I wasn't with anyone from my immediate family when I went. So that's pretty much just how that goes. And, I know it's probably not the most interesting podcast for you guys, but just bear with me. This is listener requested, and I listen to my listeners, okay? And just don't freak out. Alright, so we'll be right back here on the Personal Podcast, having ourselves a good fucking day over here. And we're going to find another song for you to play as soon as my phone decides to stop being a little bitch. Now we're going to play a wonderful song here for you called Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters.
Looking
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back here on the Personal Podcast. Finally, into the month of March. March 5th, 2018. Oh man, the last show that we made was all the way back in 2017. I know, it seems like so long ago, although not really. It's only been 3 months. What the fuck am I talking about? But the last show we made was back in November, and a little bit's changed since then. We've gained a couple new listeners, and to all of you who are new listeners, who are listening, I'd like to thank you very much. Well, anyways, giving that a good old pause button, welcome back to the show. Having ourselves a good fucking day over here. Everett Studios are proving to be louder than I originally anticipated. Not inside, but outside. But we're not going to let it shit on our parade. We're going to keep going. We're going to have a good fucking time. And we're going to go to the next topic of 2015. The year that is a little bit repressed for me, but the good parts, they've stayed in. Now, the next topic on my little list here, I'm just going to, we're going to be official about this. We're going to cross out the first one. There. Excuse me. Crossed out. Now, for those of you who do know, I created, or I guess I didn't create, I co-created it's kind of embarrassing for me to say now because we haven't made anything in so long. I created a metal band. The four of us did, of course. We created a metal band called The Shadow Behind Us, and we had a lot of fun with that. We had a lot of ideas, a lot of lyrics, and everything put down and good to go. And I even recorded a numerous songs with a particular band member. He's currently still in the Marine Corps. But it was such a fun ride because there's such an inspirational story that goes along with that. And it does get a little bit personal, so if you don't want to listen to that, please just go ahead and skip ahead. I won't really be offended by that. I mean, if you're going to go into my personal life, it's just like... So, if you don't want to listen to it, I understand. But for those of you who do, I'm going to continue. So, the reason why I wanted to create my own band was because... And it's going to sound really cheesy. I know it's going to sound really cheesy. And trust me, I've been debating putting this on recording before... But I decided against it because it's just, I don't know, it's weird for one thing, but at the same time, a lot of people can relate to it because they've followed their dreams because of actual dreams that they've had in the past. And I'll describe the dream to you. So, back in 2015, I was kind of in the heyday of listening to all my current metal bands that I still listen to today, and I was just thinking about, maybe I should try to write something like this, or maybe create something new. I don't know. And I thought about that all day, listening to their music all day, just back to back on the 5 CDs that these 3 particular bands had made at the time. And that night, I fell asleep, of course. We went to fucking bed. I went to bed, and I had this dream, and it's very, I've only had it once, and it's kind of complicated because it gets really in depth. I'm not going to go fully into detail, but the gist of it is, it starts out with me, like, I'm in this room that's not really a room. It seems like there's a curtain blocking something, and I can hear a bunch of noise on the other side. And in this dream, I'm standing in this doorway, and I have a microphone in my hand, and it's like this, it's this really like scratchy, dusty black microphone with just like a long cord just leading out up a flight of stairs. And in the dream, I'm not confused. I know exactly what I'm doing, like piece by piece by piece. Like maybe I've done this like 100 times before, but the actual me watching this, I have no fucking clue where I am. And then I walk out onto the stage. I know, I'm getting a little bit flustered. I walk out onto the stage, like it's a full-blown stage, and there's just a crowd of people. It's just like a huge crowd of people, all like cheering and just jumping up and down, like they were all meant to be there. And I guess the conclusion that I came to in my head is that I was performing a concert. I was performing live. And then right before I'm about to start screaming, I guess, I wake up. And it's always stuck with me because I looked around the stage in the dream, and I saw these, silhouettes for where the instruments are supposed to be, and they were manned, but I couldn't tell who they were when they were playing, or when they were about to start playing. It's like I was looking at these figures, and I didn't rightly know who they were. So they could have really been they could have really been anybody, and I just wouldn't have known. And so that pushed me to create The Shadow Behind Us, one of their first songs, and I can bring it up on the computer here, but I won't, but because I'll get super sidetracked like I am right now, and it's just I want to get this story out because I've never put it on recording before, so I just want to know what you guys would think. And so I wrote the first song for The Shadow Behind Us, and I typed it up the very next morning in second period in computer graphics, and to me it sounded amazing in my head. Of course, anything sounds good in your head. And I've gone back to that song so many times, and I've changed so many little things about it, and it's only been produced once, at least the vocals, and that was very fucking hard to do, by the way. But I really want to focus on music. Like in the previous podcast, or the other personal podcast I did with my friend Craig, he talked mostly about how he has a goal of his own, which is to create music that he listens to, I guess. And we were talking about that, and I just listened to this last night, by the way. I'm sorry, my voice is all kinds of fucked up today. I'm still a little bit sick, but we're gonna push forward. And so we talked about that on the other personal podcast, number 5, if you guys remember. And it's just, I really want to pursue the act of, writing music. That is something I want to do. And I know that I have to make the steps to do it, of course. And in my current state, my, mental state, financial state, where I live, it's not really possible right now. But that's an excuse, and like a famous YouTuber likes to always say this saying, excuses are the nails that build the house of failure. So no more excuses. We need to get this done. And so that's what I want to do. I want to, just write music. I want to write and produce music. I've explained it to pretty much everybody that I know, and I just want to get it out there, And that's just kind of how it goes. And so 2015 is when The Shadow Behind Us was created, which is actually my battle tag in on Battle.net, which will launch me off into my next story, which I'm sure a few particular listeners are going to find very, very funny / cringy / cool, I guess. I don't know. But that right there in 2015 with that dream, that particular dream that I had, that's what spawned the idea for The Shadow Behind Us. So we got that crossed off, and we're gonna let you just go back to a little bit of a music break here. We're gonna play you another Foo Fighters song, a little bit calmer, and not one that I've ever played on the show before. But I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it because, come on, who doesn't like the Foo Fighters? Anyways, We'll be right back here on the Personal Podcast, here to do another beautiful show. See you in a bit.
One more day that I've survived another night alone. Ain't no mind, I'm doing fine, I'm breathing on my own. I'm here, and I'm on the mend. I'm here, and I'm on the mend, my friend. Wake me when the hour arrives, wake me with my name. See you somewhere down the line, we're tethered once again. I'm here, and I'm on the mend. I'm here, and I'm on the mend, my friend. I'm here, and I'm on the mend. I'm here, and I'm on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Personal Podcast, episode number 6. Really getting into it over here. That was On the Mend by the Foo Fighters from their 2005 album. Good God. That was a long-ass fucking time ago. Anyways, welcome back to the show. Here, just doing a little bit of a fun story time. You know, just giving you guys lots of stories to listen to. Because I don't know if you guys have anything better to do. If you do, feel free to turn me off. just close out the window and move on. But anyways, welcome back to the show. We're on to topic number 3. And now this one is going to take a bit of a turn towards the people who enjoy and love the games of Blizzard Entertainment. So, in 2015, I believe I created my current Battle.net account, which is TSBU 2015, which I'm sure all of you know by now. And that's when I decided, I guess that wasn't really my decision, it was decided that I needed to use my own Battle.net. Jesus, excuse me, words just completely collapsed. That I needed to create my own Battle.net account because I used to play with my friend on the wonderful game of Diablo 3, and I always played on his dad's account. So about, I guess not, that percentage doesn't apply now, but maybe a good like 55 to 60% of all the Diablo I've ever played has been on a different account. So all of you who are asking me, oh, why aren't you Paragon level 1400? I played on a different account, okay? Fucking chill. I played on a different account. I know pretty much everything about the game except for, you know, actually making sets and everything, which for those of you who do know the game, I'm pretty hopeless when it comes to any class except for the Demon Hunter. and that might be funny to some people. I'm sure like more than half of you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I just thought of this because it made sense. Because that's when the account was made. And we're talking about 2015. See? I brought it back. Boom! Anyways. I made my Battle.net account back in 2015 and just... Oh, God. I think I downloaded Heroes of the Storm and I downloaded StarCraft 2, and I played those 2 games for probably about, like 2 years or something. I'm pretty bad at Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft for that matter. You know what? Honestly, I'm fucking terrible at all the video games I play. But I have fun, whatever. And so, I guess another little story of 2015 is that my current Battle.net account was made then. So that's pretty much that. I don't really have much to say about it. We're just gonna cross that out. It's pretty much the days where all my friend and I used to do was because wait a minute, shit, that was 2016. Fuck. No, don't worry. The account was made in 2015. The story that I'm referring to that I've written down on this page took place in 2016, so it cannot be told because it doesn't follow the timeline. End of story. Anyways, we're just gonna move on from that. How about that? So we're gonna go on to the next topic, which is something that everyone on this channel is definitely going to thoroughly enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 years ago, in the wonderful year of 2015, back in the month of June of 2015, if that makes sense. No, it doesn't. The Thumb and Ted podcast became a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, our podcast is not that old. I've come to the realization that the Thumb and Ted podcast is not the oldest podcast on the internet, clearly. But if you go all the way back to the shows from 2015, you can see how the fluidity of all the different mechanics of the show have actually gotten a lot better. The content kind of has stayed the same, but let's just leave it at that. the first ever show of the Thumb and Ted podcast was actually recorded back in June of 2015, not July, or was it? I don't remember. I'm trying to remember back 3 years, and I don't even remember what I did yesterday. So, I'm just gonna say that the first ever episode of the Thumb and Ted podcast, if I could fucking speak, the Thumb and Ted podcast was recorded in June of 2015. That's when it was, and we actually did. Oh God, we did about 25 shows that weren't posted until they were all posted at once. And it was quite an upload process, I will definitely tell you that. It took me probably 12 hours to get every first episode of the Thumb and... What the fuck is wrong with my voice? I can't speak the words. The first episodes were uploaded all at once. And so it was just kind of just boom, 25 shows, go. And it was like, what? So I got a couple friends listening to it. I showed it to my brother, and I showed it to probably everybody who's listened to this podcast except for one. And to this particular person, please don't. It's really embarrassing. Don't listen to the first couple shows. They're not funny. It sounds like shit. And it's not nostalgic for someone who doesn't know what the Thumb and Ted podcast really is. So let's just leave it at that. Thumb and Ted was created in 2015. So that's pretty cool. And to bring that all the way back around so that it makes sense for story time is that I actually learned this podcast from another podcast. I know. Well, what a fucking shock. He used another person's idea. But, I enjoyed this because I was just going to keep it to myself on my laptop at the time because I figured that it would be kind of copying. But, I want to put my own little spin on it like I explained in the late night talk episode of the... I guess that was the first personal podcast. But I explained it on there, is that this podcast, rather, was actually not my idea. And there's been so many other shows done like this, where where a person is actually just speaking to themselves, and it gives the illusion of hearing other people in the room. It's a creative, fun, kind of crazy idea. A little bit more crazy than the other two. And, and, you know, it's, okay, I feel like I can release the name of the podcast that I listened to before, because, you know, I've gotten other shows out. The podcast that I'm referring to, the one where I got the idea to do this show, was actually the world famous Phil Hendry show. And this man, like I've said before in other shows, he is clearly a fucking genius. He comes up with all these different characters and everything, and delivers it organically and so fluid, and it's just so hard for me to wrap my head around how he does what he does. And he does it every single day. It's his daily routine. The world famous Phil Hendry show comes out daily, sometimes like every 2 days, because, you know, he needs a day off. Give him a break. It is his job, but nobody works every day, right? That would suck. But, you know, I was listening to this show because my brother showed it to me, because it had a little bit of clever toilet humor type of vibe to it, and I found that shit hilarious. So we started listening to this podcast, and then, like, he stopped and everything, but I just kept going. I listened to like fucking 30 episodes straight, and they're all about an hour long, and it made me laugh, but it also made me want to try to do what he did, or does, I guess. And I guess the Thumb and Ted is the product of me wanting to do that, you know? And so I guess that ties it around back to story time, because at the time I was like, well, I could make this into some sort of little fun thing for me to do, like get friends involved and call them up on the show on the phone and make it sound like, oh, there's different people in the room, and, you know, it was just a cute little idea. I don't know, but that's pretty much that for the Thumb and Ted podcast for 2015. I made those 25 shows, and then just upload them all at once. If you look at the upload date for those first 25 episodes, they should be all the same day, even though I may be mistaken. It may have been the first 15 episodes. Now that I'm thinking about it, Jesus Christ, I'm tired. But, you know, that's the Thumb and Ted podcast. I already scratched it off the page. We're done. You know about the Thumb and Ted podcast. And just a little side note about 2015. I turned 18 years old. I turned 18 years old in 2015, correct? Yes. Yes, I did. Jesus Christ. I do apologize. I'm very overtired in this particular podcast. But we're going to take a little bit of a break here on the personal podcast extra long version, making it a little bit of an hour special. In the last 10 minutes, we're going to play you another wonderful song. This one is Moments in Grace, Broken Promises. It was on the other ROTC one, but I'm going to put it in this one because it's another great, amazing song that you should listen to, and we'll be right back here in just a moment. Oh, we love you. and gentlemen, we're back here on the Personal Podcast. Oh my, it's been a long one today. I hope that you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, because I have, and I think it's a good idea for the storytime topics to come out organically. Not sure what that means, but just take it into interpretation. How about that? I don't know what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very, very overtired, as you could probably tell throughout the duration of this podcast. There was a lot of stumbles, but we did get some good stories out. That wildlife story was, oh man, that was just so much fun, and I hope that you enjoyed it and everything. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to just say thank you to everyone that's been listening to the Thumb and Ted podcast and the Personal Podcast. And just to let you know, coming up either tomorrow or the next day, or whenever we do it, because we make promises about how we're going to record the very next day, and then it doesn't come out for the next 3 months, and we kind of look like liars. But don't worry, we're just busy. We're not lying to you. We're just fucking busy. Chill. But in the next Personal Podcast, I will be having Craig back on to hear his particular 2015 stories, where I'm sure that you will enjoy and be thoroughly entertained, if I could speak properly. So, we're gonna just, I hope you had fun listening to the podcast. Sorry I cut that song off like oh, BAM! Sorry. But we'd just like to thank you for listening to the podcast today. If you liked what you've heard, please feel free to leave us a comment down below. And if you hated what you heard today, tell me why. So anyways, we'll see you next time here on the Personal Podcast. And we hope that you're all there listening, because God knows that we're not. See you later.